Back to the Lattimore Performance Podcast, episode number 8 here. Teddy and I are back. It's been a little while. We've had a lot going on the last 4 weeks since the last one.
Yeah, we have had a lot going on.
We went out, we did our San Francisco wedding trip, golf trip. What?
That was a great trip, by the way.
It was. We did have a lot of fun. We'll cover that a little bit today. But we wanted to spend a little bit of time today, kind of a precursor for another episode we'll do later down this summer or this spring, talking to one of the Lattimore guys with TPI certification and a little bit more about golf. So we're going to get into a little bit of how Teddy and I would handle in our individual practices as a golfer, especially as we get ready here for the upstate New York golf season. I know Teddy and I are just a little bit excited for that.
Yeah, I would say the season is upon us for the average golfer in upstate New York. However, we've played maybe 5 rounds already.
We've played at least 4 or 5 rounds in Rochester, had a few rounds in San Francisco. I played a few rounds in Florida. We played a lot of golf this year already.
We have.
It was good though. It was good to get out in some nice weather in San Francisco.
Yes.
The courses were not wet. You get out this morning.
I got out this morning at the new Sycamore Golf Club for Crooked Pines.
Okay, I didn't know that's what it was called.
It was wet, but I got out at 6:20 this morning. Tried to get out as early as I can. I got a good walk in. It was nice. It was nice, but it was wet. So hopefully some warm weather coming in this week can help warm things up and start drying the courses out.
Yeah, this week is supposed to be beautiful. I think it's supposed to be, 78 today and tomorrow?
Yeah, it may even get up in the 80s, I think. And some of this week is nice, but I'm sure next week we'll be back in the 50s or something.
80s in New York, sweet. But so let's recap the San Francisco trip a little bit. We were down in Carmel Valley. We played 3 rounds.
Yeah, that honestly, it was a great trip. First off, we went out for our cousin Lexi's wedding.
Shout out Jason and Lexi. Yep. Congratulations.
Congrats to Lexi and Jason. Great wedding we had. Really fun trip. If you've never been out there, my wife and I did San Francisco for a couple days, which was great. Got to go to Alcatraz. Highly recommend Alcatraz. Great tour. The weather was incredible for us the whole week.
All 5 days. Couldn't have asked for better weather.
No. You're talking
5 days,
70s, high 60s, but warm.
And 5 days of not a single cloud in the sky.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Then we made the trip down to Carmel by the Sea, Carmel Valley, and Monterey Peninsula, which is one of the best golf areas in the country, if not the world. Just absolute beautiful courses up there.
Golf courses every 2 miles.
Yeah. So the trip was great. The wedding was great. We did get to play 3 rounds of golf.
Some better than others.
Some better than the others. We did our best to try to get on Pebble Beach. That did not work.
Wasn't in the cards for us yet.
No, not yet. But I think that's fate telling us we must go back.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever go back to the state of California. I don't think I'm ever going to fly again, ever.
Well, some of us have bad luck with flying. And if your bad luck is, missing flights and missing connections and having flights canceled, then I guess, it is what it is there. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of wanting to fly with you right now.
Had to spend the night in Chicago on our trip out to San Francisco after a horrific time trying to fly to Florida in February. It's been a rough year of flying. But you know what? I'm going to Portugal in a couple of weeks. Might play there. Still looking at courses there, so fingers crossed that I've gotten all my bad juju out for flying.
Yeah, I hope so for that trip across the pond.
Luckily, there's no layovers, so hard to miss a connection when you have no connection to make.
There's a flight from Rochester to Portugal?
No, I'm driving to Toronto.
Ah, smart.
Yes.
So your connection is you. It's on you now.
Yes. Yep. Well,
put it in your own hands.
I guess my connection is the border.
That's true. Don't forget your passport.
Yes.
Unless you have an enhanced ID.
Nope.
Got to do your passport.
Got to do the passport. But yeah, I really enjoyed golf in San Francisco. We played a lot of good rounds, some not so great rounds. Spanish Bay was a really hard.
Very hard course.
Our last round was, we didn't get Pebble Beach, so we played Spanish Bay, which is one of the Pebble Beach courses. But right on the ocean. It was honestly the worst weather day, which is hard to say a worse.
The part about out there too, right, is worst weather day, yet we were experiencing overcast, lot of wind right in the ocean, but our family in Carmel Valley, 30 minutes inland, it was a beautiful day.
Oh yeah.
So
we went back and sat by the pool. It's insane.
as far as, our weather where we were on the golf course, yeah, that was the hardest day. The wind, I mean, there were holes where there was nothing we could do there.
What was it, like the 14th hole was the par 3? We hit 7 irons into a green that was 148 yards and came up 20 yards short.
Yeah. There was a couple par 3s when we did that. And there was a couple of approach shots that happened on that. It was just, once it got up in the air, I felt like it was going to come back and I could catch the ball.
Yeah. It's
but
insane.
That was part of it, right? That's what you get with a true links course is it's built on the ocean. And we knew there was going to be wind out there. And honestly, for the wind we got, we're probably pretty lucky that that's what it was.
Yeah, it wasn't like we were hitting drivers like Tony Finau into Pebble Beach into 7. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that. We did get to see Pebble Beach. We sat and had lunch on the 18th green, which made our drive to get out there that much more.
So beautiful. Just to be on a course like that too, the history with all the players that have played at that course and, some of the history behind some of the tournaments that's gone on there. I remember I sent you that video. It was like 2010?
Tiger Woods from behind the tree. Yeah.
I mean, just to see it in person makes it that much more real.
It's insane.
But yeah, we played, Spanish Bay. That was beautiful. Highly recommend, even at the price. We started off at Quail Lodge, which was more inland near where we were staying. Beautiful lodge, golf course, very well kept. That was just a fun round. It was the first round of the week.
That was
another beautiful day too. And then we played Pacific Groves Golf Links, which is known on Monterey Peninsula as the poor man's Pebble Beach. And
we did. So we played Pebble.
Yeah, exactly.
Version.
I highly recommend that course.
It was really nice.
The front nine was like any, municipal regular golf course. But the back nine was all in the water. It was beautiful.
And then it's wild. The first 2 courses we played from the tips of those 2 courses. And they were rather short compared to what we're used to here. Yeah. But then you walk up to all the par 3s, and I think, 7 of the 8 par 3s were 200 plus yards. And we're like, oh, okay, sure.
Yeah, there were some that it was like, okay.
Just take the driver out.
Yeah. But, that's part of if you're gonna play the tips, then you better be ready for it.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Which we should not be playing the tips, but
no, but I mean, yeah, you're right. We should scale down. I think I'm going to scale down play some whites around here for a little while and just see if I can score. And then as I score better, I earn the right to move back.
I like that. We have to earn the right to get back to the blues and the blacks.
Caleb, I don't know if you're listening, but you would be very proud of me saying that. Now I need to actually go do it.
Yeah, we actually have to do it. That's the big thing.
But all right, so let's get into a little more performance-based stuff. What would you do? So you have a guy come in, Rochester. Let's say it's the start of the off season, so it's a fall time. He's, I don't know, your average person. He wants to get stronger. He wants to golf better. What does your initial assessment look like? I guess we can both talk about what we would assess from a performance standpoint, and then we can go into treatment versus strength and conditioning and go back and forth on that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, really, whenever they would come in, the assessment would be the same. I know a lot of people come in probably with preconditioned ideas, and maybe they have a golf coach that's telling them where they have restrictions. For me, I would probably customize the Lattimore fitness assessment paired with, some of the TPI tests.
Yeah.
Just very basic, in my world, compared to yours is probably going to be a little bit more detailed on some of the TPI, where mine's going to be, I want to see what's our work capacity look like? What's our conditioning look like? Things like that. Can we move in the basics with what we need to move?
And I think that comes back to a lot we've talked about is you can't put the cart before the horse. And there's a lot of both of us really, there's going to be a lot of general fitness principles that come well before you're going golf specific. Like if you can't squat or you've done nothing in terms of fitness or strength and conditioning, you're not going to jump right into a golf specific medicine ball throw before you can pattern a squat and a bench or a so and so, because realistically, just getting stronger is going to help you swing faster. It's going to help you hit the ball farther, and it's going to help you stay out of pain. It's going to load those tissues to help protect you from injury.
100%. And that's where my world, it's, in my opinion, unless you're coming in like you've done a lot of work before, honestly, in my perspective, it's going to be a pretty basic and easy thing to attack. It may not look as specific and easy, but we're going to do things that feel specific. But at the end of the day, like I'll always start with this: is what is your work capacity? What is your conditioning and endurance like? Because you can go out and walk in a golf cart, but if you're swinging right, and most average golfers are swinging
at least 100 live,
right? I mean, we're swinging.
Yeah, true.
We're swinging 80 plus times.
Yeah. Without practice swings.
Exactly. So that's going to do a toll on, not only the spine, but the whole body. So we need to be conditioned to do that over time. And that's not just in the specific area, but the whole system needs to be able to have that endurance and that capacity.
Yeah, and it comes back to, we've always said it on here too, of training in multiple planes. Like golf is definitely more of a transverse plane rotational sport than most. So that's a little bit where my assessment would change. I'm looking more at shoulder rotation, hip rotation, trunk rotation, thoracic rotation. Obviously, you're going to take a look at flexion and extension because it plays a role into those rotational movements. But if you can't lift your arm up and externally rotate it, are you going to expect to be able to get your golf swing up behind you? And no. Same thing. If you can't internally rotate your hip sitting at the side of the table, how are you going to be able to load into those muscles as you take your golf swing back without swaying? And, we can get into all the specific golf terms of early extension, this and that, but a lot of it comes down to, a lot of it simply from a physical therapy standpoint and strength and conditioning, I guess, is like lead hip internal rotation and back shoulder external rotation. There's more than that, obviously, but like those are two huge. If you don't have that, one, your swing's going to get all funky, but also you're going to force yourself into range of motion you don't have, and that's where things are going to break down.
Yeah, I'd probably add the thoracic rotation.
Oh, yeah.
The big three.
Yes,
but like you said, like most people, they can't do those three. And to their defense, they don't know, like, well, how do I improve those three? So most people we've probably seen the door, if you just improve those, they're going to get better. And that's the thing for me, like, I get a golfer in that's like, hey, I just want to get stronger. I want my performance for golf to go up. Like, those are going to be big things I'm thinking of. But then, like, functional strength, flexibility, mobility, core strength, those are going to be the big things I'm hitting on. I've had golfers before that come in like, oh yeah, I'd leg press 1,000 pounds, but it's like, we do 10 body weight split squats and they struggle and they have to hold a foam roller to do it. It's like, there's so, like, the good part that I always tell them is like, you have such a high ceiling.
Room for growth.
Yes, like
opportunity. Yeah. Right there. Boom.
Like, you should be able to go do 10 of these as a warm up before you round the golf.
Absolutely.
And then the core strength is big for me. Like, a lot of people just don't get how to truly train their core. And, we talked about this with Nick a little bit, right? Of really how to, engage the right muscles in the core, the important ones. It's not just going out and doing 100 Russian twists, to get the core stronger. There's things out there that's important, in my, like, for a golfer, like, I'm getting in dead bugs, I'm getting in plank variations, I'm hitting on anti-extension, anti-lateral flexion, anti-rotation, then I'm promoting it too. So I want to do all of it.
Oh boy.
And then
the ghost is joining us.
The single leg strength is going to be huge. Pull strength, I'm a buddy. Pull strength is going to be huge. And then, like you said, movement in multiple planes and functional movement. The least amount of machines possible, in my opinion. Unless you have to be on a machine, then we're at least gaining strength from machines, but then we're doing mobility drills that you can handle to at least work on the flexibility, but then the active flexibility part of it.
Yeah, it's all about injury. Can you and with all this, like, we can never say injury prevention, right? Because pain is way too unpredictable to say. If you deadlift 250 pounds or you deadlift body weight, you're never going to have pain. You're never going to get injured because what we've gotten to the point where you're swinging your club too fast to ever say that nothing ever 100% this is going to prevent everything happening. But there's ways that you can reduce your risk of getting injured, and I think that's where your strength and conditioning, your mobility, being able to do stuff on single leg, and golf, despite always thinking of it as a bilateral activity. I mean, think about the weight shift every swing as you're really going from your weight on your one leg to your next leg. And they found, I can't remember what the study was, but they found in studies like how important single leg balance is to golf performance, which is, why would you ever think that?
Well, I mean, one of the tests of the TPI is single leg balance,
Yeah.
is it not?
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, it's the stability on that leg is huge. You've got to have stability in golf. And it's a sport, like you said, it's mainly a transverse frontal plane sport, but how many people train in those planes? Right?
Okay.
That's the minority of people are training that way, unless they're, I'm a training golf specific, right? But, it's important. I think, like, going off what you said, is I'll always tell people is we'll never make you bulletproof, but we'll make you more resilient.
Yeah.
Right? Let's increase your resiliency. So if you go do a golf weekend and you play 3 days in a row and you've trained, your body is going to be more resilient to getting sore, to breaking down until maybe later in the trip or after the trip. Whereas if you're not conditioned or built to do that and you go play 3 rounds, you may not make it 3 rounds.
Yeah, here's the thing you see at the beginning of the season too. You always see people coming in with overuse injuries, your low back, your golfer's elbow, stuff like that. Because in April, let's say you haven't gone to the range, you haven't done, I mean, now it's a lot easier because you have all these simulators popping up everywhere. So golf is just becoming more accessible in the off season. But let's say you don't swing from November to, I don't know, March. I mean, we've gotten lucky this year. We've gotten out a bunch, but and then you go play 3 rounds in 3 days. It comes back to that thing we've said that we've been consistent on here of too much, too soon, too fast. It's like, right. That's where things break down. So if you go from no swings to 300 shots in a weekend, things are going to get spicy. Things are going to be sore. But if you're in the weight room, you're with a strength and conditioning professional, you're doing things in the off season, whether it's swinging a club or not, like you said, the tissue tolerance is being built in the weight room in the off season so that you're prepared when golf season comes back around.
Yeah, I just think if you want to improve your scores and you want to improve your game, whether you have nagging things going on and it's getting to see a physical therapist, or you're just struggling with pain, or you just don't feel like you can hit the ball far, like, get in and see a strength conditioning coach. There's just no negative part to it. Like, in both of our worlds, if we have someone come in, it's not like we're going to, oh, you're slicing the ball. Okay, let's talk about how we can fix that. No. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I 100% know I'm staying in my lane in that, right? Even though I may think I could do it, I'll stay in my lane. But when it comes to the performance side of things, like, no brainer, and I mean, I've trained multiple golf coaches, right?
Yeah, and I think that's where even talking with golf coaches is they want to stay in their lane too. They know, hey, I know as much as I know about how to get you to swing, where your swing should be, how I can get you to play better golf, but it's out of my lane to tell you, hey, you need to be they know strength is a huge piece, but they don't know about strength and conditioning principles, and if things hurt, that's out of their lane too. So like building that continuum around your golf game, just like we've talked about in football, like we talked with Connor, having the athletic trainer, your strength and conditioning, your mental coach, all of this stuff we've talked about it takes a village. It's not one person is going to be like, I mean, look at the tour guys. They'll have a PT, a chiropractor, a mental coach, a golf coach, a swing coach, a putting. I mean, they have like 13 guys that help them get through a round.
Well, that's the point, right? What are the pros doing?
Yeah.
They're using PT. They're using strength coaches. I mean, those guys are going in the small bays that they bring in, and they're getting a lift in the morning if they play in the afternoon.
Yeah.
I mean, really, when can they do it? But they know they got to continue to do it throughout the year to maintain that strength and power because it is such a long season, and those guys play a lot of golf.
Oh yeah, they hardly have. I mean, they call it an off-season time sometimes, but what, like December they don't play that much. Like They really play year round. So they're training strength and conditioning just throughout the season. Like you said, they're getting a lift in on a Thursday morning before the first round of the. I mean, there's guys in the Masters, like at the Masters, in the strength and conditioning box trailer, getting full lifts in before they go and play the first round of the freaking Masters. Like, it's that important.
Yeah.
I mean, you always see Scotty doing something. He's incredible.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, he was getting worked on. What was it, the Players or 3 weeks ago by his PT because he cranked his neck the wrong way.
Yeah, and then it was a few weeks later with that Ashke Badia right there. That remember he got KT taped.
Yeah,
because he
before he went to his playoff,
he subluxed.
Yeah, subluxed his shoulder,
and then still went up, finished and won. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. And then he went and played the Masters.
It's wild.
So, I mean, taking care of your body when it comes to golf is, absolutely necessary. I mean,
you can't just go out and play all the time. Like, I mean, we fall into that too. Is like, yes, going and playing 18 holes that's why you love golf. But like the practice and the preparation for it, warming up before a round is so important. Like, you and I both know that when we don't warm up, we play like garbage, and then our mental side suffers, and the whole round is a grind.
Yeah,
because the first 4 holes takes us just to warm up.
It's such a mental sport that side of it's just so big that, like you said, like if you start not great or you start slow, not only are you battling your body and the physical part, but now you're battling the mental part too. And we all know in golf, if your mental side starts going down, I mean, you can just spiral so easy in golf. And you look at it and you see the pros getting frustrated. You go to a regular golf course, and you can very much easily see, a couple of clubs being helicoptered around the golf course. But
they just fly so well. Just so well. I've never done that for the listeners out there. Never thrown a club.
Yeah, no, we don't do
that. But yeah, and going on to some of the PTs, some of the stuff we see most commonly, I mean, you have it called golfer's elbow. I don't see that much golfer's elbow really. Although you and I are both dealing with a little bit of golfer's elbow on and off, but it doesn't seem to be golf related. I don't know. I mean, we play a lot of golf, but it never bothers me while I'm golfing. Low back is probably the biggest. Low back and shoulder. And I think low back comes down to rotational core strength, like we talked about most of the time, and just the overuse of swinging again.
Yeah.
Hey, you haven't swung in 6 months. You go out and play around, and all of a sudden your lower back's nagging. And a lot of times it's not the sharp, stabby, like I can't stand up low back pain. It's the, this just feels tight. This is uncomfortable. I can't find a comfortable position. But if you get in early and you don't let it linger, like, I don't know, we take care of it really easily and you're right back to golfing.
Yeah.
A lot of times you don't even have to stop golfing. It's just, let's work on some hip rotation. Big thing we've already covered is the hip internal rotation bilateral. and then rotational core strength. It's not super complex, but it's hard to do yourself. And then giving you a good warm up to start with, warming up your hips, warming up your core, warming up your shoulders. We could throw a 5-minute warm up plan together and you're off and running. You don't even have to swing. You take a mini band, boom, you're good to go.
Yeah, I agree.
And it'll just help reduce that risk of injury so much.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a lot, but you'll feel better. I think you'll play better. We both notice we play better when we warm up. And then hopefully you don't have to come see me.
Exactly.
And then I had that conversation with someone too this week. Was like, I had to just remind them, like, I'm not here, and PTs aren't here to take you out of sports or take you out of activities. That's not what we want. Like, that's my last thing I'm thinking of. I think I had a couple football players in there that were talking about it. But, I mean, same thing with golf is like, I want you to go play. I don't want to have to tell you, but if we have to take 2 weeks off of golfing, it sucks. But like, think about it. If you take 2 weeks off now, it's April. It's not the greatest time to golf anyways. Get you back by mid-May and you have a full summer, as opposed to you keep golfing, ignoring this now, and then you miss June, July, August, September. And now you're finally feeling good and it's October and, well, golf season's over.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the big thing, right? Is don't be stubborn with the injuries. Don't be, stubborn with any nagging things going. Go get it fixed now. Now is the time to get it done. And the big thing with that too is it's play the long game, right? Oh, I really want to go out and play around. Well, how about you skip 2-3 weeks, right? What is the backside of that compared to, the reward right away of, oh, I'm playing right now, but then it blows up in the summer. So yeah, I think that's a big thing.
I think the other thing is too, like, I'll work with people of like, well, okay, let's not play a full round for 2 weeks, but go to the range, go work on some chipping. It's not as much rotation. You can still get a club in your hands. You can hit some balls. We all work on chipping and putting anyways,
right,
in our practice. So, like, take 2 weeks and just work on that. Don't full swing a club just for 2 weeks. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah,
it's not that crazy. I know it's easier said than done because I probably have trouble doing that too. But it's just building up that tolerance. I think that's at the end of the day, from PT, from strength and conditioning standpoint, it's building up your tolerance to that activity, hip internal rotation, shoulder rotation, core strength. I think those are the big ones. Maybe we'll throw some videos together and post them on Instagram for just a quick warm up. I think we could do that pretty easily. Put a little warm up video together.
I like that.
But yeah, any other last minute things to add, and we'll get, maybe we'll get Caleb on from a golf coach perspective and see if Jeremy can hop on from a TPI certified, PT side and kind of hammer some of these things out in a little more detail. But yeah, anything else?
No, I'm excited to get some people on. At the end of the day, just come into the doors of Lattimore and let us take care of you before the season really gets going. I'm excited for that. The weather's getting beautiful, so let's get out, get some walking in, get the body moving. But yeah, excited for that, and excited for to be back down in the basement, get some more episodes going.
No doubt. And then also, we did start we got some buddies. We started a little tournament on 18 birdies, so follow along for what happens there. We're going to do a golf trip in September, October somewhere.
Kelsey, I'll talk to you about that golf trip.
It's going to be close. We've already decided this year.
Yes, it will be close to Rochester.
Like within 3 to 4 hours, probably. Just a quick weekend, Kelsey. It's going to be a thing.
Yeah, if you are listening, Kelsey, this is the first time I've heard of that we are taking a golf trip.
Yeah, it's going to be quick. Real quick. Promise. Anyways, finishing question for today. We only got one. We'll make it quick. Favorite hole from San Francisco?
So I know we talked about this earlier, but I thought of it. I think for me, it was 17 at Pacific Groves, par 3.
That was nice.
Right on 17-mile drive, right on the ocean, over some water. I want to say it was like 165.
You piped that one right.
My big thing was we had a little crowd behind
We
us.
did have
in a parking lot behind us.
It was a crowd of 2, but it was a crowd.
That's a crowd to anyone. If you're not in our party, it's a crowd.
Yeah.
But not only that, but he distinctively asked me what I was getting for distance. So I in my mind, I'm like, okay, he's watching.
He knows.
And
well, what did he say to you at the end after you hit it? Because you hit it to like 10. I mean, it was probably 10 feet-ish. I don't remember. It was close.
I can't remember the distance 100%. I want to say, I really want to pull back and say it was like 155, 160.
Yeah, I think it was somewhere there. But he was like, oh, that was nice.
Oh, yeah. So I hit a 9-iron and just hit an absolute missile. Straight. I think I came about maybe 10 feet short.
Yeah.
I missed the birdie putt.
Like I said, we need to work up on it.
Yeah. He gave me a great shot. And I heard him talk to the guy next to him and said, oh, that would just be a nice, smooth, good 8-iron. And then, of course, that lights my ego up because I hit a 9-iron. But, yeah, that was probably overall performance, hit a great shot for me. There were a lot of beautiful golf courses that we played or golf holes we played.
Yeah.
Now did I play every, nice golf hole like that and that smoothly? No. And that's why that one's definitely got to be the favorite for me.
Yeah, I think it was, honestly, thinking of it now that you're talking about this, I think it was the par 4 at Quail Lodge, I think 5th hole, where it was like a little downhill and up. Hit a nice drive right down the pipe. Take a 9-iron out there, like 140 uphill, but playing like 155. I hit it to 6 feet. And then sank the birdie putt. And then Teddy's like, yo, that was the hardest hole on the course. I was like, well, of course, I triple bogeyed the first 3 holes, but I birdied this one. Go me.
We both played that hole great. I mean, I hit it. We both got green in regulation. I probably was like 25, 30 feet with an awful downhill putt.
Oh, yeah. I do remember that.
That I either had to hit it or just hope and pray the speed was perfect. Yeah. Which I at least came out with a par, but yeah, you had a great second shot and then sank that birdie, and you needed that.
Yeah, I did. I mentally needed that. Well, then I turned around on 6, which is what I was saying, is it's hard to pick because 6 was that night. Remember we were up on the hill,
par 3,
the lake on the right, and I hit that perfect distance too. It was just right. I 2-putted for a par, but that was a beautiful hole up on the hill.
That was a nice course. Yeah. I know that we played it early, but that was a really beautiful course.
I would argue that based on the weather, that might have been the most beautiful course we played. Spanish Bay was nice. The weather wasn't quite as nice in the wind. Having the ocean right there is hard to argue with.
Yeah. I mean, 2 different courses, in my opinion. Because we're on the water for 85% of Spanish Bay.
Spanish Bay and Pacific Grove are more of a link style. Yeah. Whereas the Quail was just a true resort course. And it was beautiful, well kept. I played them.
It was a beautiful course, don't get me wrong. Spanish Bay was just beautiful on the water, but it was a links course. It was hard. It was definitely hard. So
it was very hard. We won't be playing our league rounds there.
No.
But sweet. Awesome. It was great to be back in the basement talking a little golf. We're excited for some of the guests we have coming up. If you have any questions, comments, drop them below, and we'll get back to you. We'll look to put out a little warm-up video here on the Instagram and YouTube, so check it out. If you enjoyed the episode, subscribe, give us a review, and we'll talk to you all soon. Have a good one. Enjoy some golf.
Bye-bye.